chatting about Lonmin there, and of course Steve Sedgwick pointing out how Lonmin has underperformed the markets over the past couple of years. Definitely outperforming today, though. Those shares up by 1.7% to 173 Rand. And that's despite Implats and Anglo Platinum being under pressure. So looks like the market responding very well to those Lonmin numbers.
Yeah, well, they surprised on the upside slightly. I think the market was expecting about 43.5 US cents for the half year. They came in at 45 US cents, so they have surprised on the upside for the first time in quite a while. Once again, the platinum sector for me is not where I'd be putting my money in terms of commodity shares. Impala's not cheap. Implats isn't cheap, and even though Lonmin did have a good day today, it's also not cheap. Yes, they will run if the market recovers, but I'm certainly looking at picking up an Anglo's or a Billet and a diversified miner that's on a sub-10 PE rather than picking things up in the mid-teen PEs.
Well, perhaps let's take a look at those commodity stocks, because we have seen commodity prices over the past week coming under extreme pressure, up a little bit today, but still not bouncing back. And we have those commodity shares also under pressure. Do you think this is the opportunity to get into this market?
Well, the thing is this, I mean, the sell-off that we had in commodities last week is, I think, a result of too many speculators in these metals, in these markets, and I think also too many people being overgeared. I don't think it's an unhealthy correction. I mean, when you look at what silver's done over the past year and a half, it can't just keep rallying like that. So I don't think sell-offs like this are the end of the world. I think if you are looking to pick up these commodity stocks, such as the Anglos, the Billetins, the Sassels, I think you've got to do it with caution, and I think you've got to look at the valuations. If you have a look at an Anglos, it's going to earn around about 40 Rand for the year. It's just on an 8.5 times forward multiple, and for me that's good value. Would I be putting all my eggs in one basket and diving in straight away? No, not at all. I'd be picking it up at levels, maybe every 5 or 10 Rand lower, buying some more and accumulating them. I mean, let's not forget Anglos was at 400 Rand earlier in the year. It's now at about 330 Rand, so that's certainly something I would be buying. Also like the coal story, I like Xero. But this all hinges on China as well. I think we've got to see China settle down, and you've got to see these commodity prices settle down. I don't want to see these commodity prices just spike up another $30, $40 on gold and platinum, because I don't think it's going to help anyone. I think we want to just see some sustainability and some settlement in this market, that these prices are settled at.
I'm sure despite the pullback last week, we still have some of those speculators in the market. So what do you see for the fundamentals of the market supporting these commodity prices? We also had Chinese PMI out last week and heading back towards that 50 level. So it looks like some of the monetary tightening we've seen in China is taking a bit of an effect there. Do you think this is going to affect demand from China?
Most certainly. I mean, the data that's been coming out of China for the past couple of weeks or months has certainly not been supportive of commodities prices and commodity stocks, and that's why you've seen these stocks doing what they're doing. I think the fundamentals on the medium term are certainly there for the Anglos, the Billetins, the bigger, the heavyweight stocks. In the short term, they probably might get a little bit more sold off, especially if we have European woes continue with the Greek sell-off or the Greek bailout. Greeks' long-term debt rating also being lowered, I think, today. So certainly these markets are not out of the woods, and that's why you've got to pick your valuations, pick your levels in these stocks and get long, because when you get sell-offs, you certainly get opportunities to make money, and you certainly need to pick up these stocks at these prices, I feel.
Do you see issues like Greek debt as a big risk for the markets? Because we have known about the Greek debt problems, so we get the downgrade today. Do you think it was a short-term knee-jerk reaction to things like this?
Yes, once again, I do. It's nothing new. The markets know the Greek problems. They know there are going to be problems. They know that Greece is going to need to be refinanced. These are not new issues. But when they come up, obviously, you can see it in the euro. The euro was at almost 149 to the dollar on Friday morning. It's now below 143. And certainly that does affect commodity prices, and it does affect markets. So you can't just ignore it. But it's nothing new for the markets. I expect there'll be other countries that come to the fore again in Europe. And this is something that I think is going to go on for the next probably year or two, where we have these types of, not shocks, but these unexpected re-announcements of problems in Europe. They're not going to go away, and they're here to stay for the near to mid-term future, certainly.
Well, apart from Anglos and Billetins, you also mentioned Xero, and Xero was one share that took a hefty smack last week. That share was bottom of the top 40 for most of last week, and flattish today again, 166 Rand. Do you think this presents value, or do you think it's still looking pricey? Because the share did ramp up recently.
Well, let's take it into consideration. Exxaro has traded between 140 and 150 Rand for a good part of the year. Post post the Japan earthquake, it got sold down to about 140 Rand, and since then it's ran to about just below 180 Rand. So it's had a phenomenal run. It's not going to be bulletproof, and it's not going to shrug off just a sell-off like this in commodity prices, because it's also tuned into China as well. But I do feel that Xero is a north of 200 Rand share if you hold it in your patience. So I do think it offers value. Whether it offers value tomorrow, I'm not quite sure, but I certainly would be picking up Xero as well at these levels.
Richard, your short-term outlook for these markets, just given the volatility we've seen over the past week?
Not going to go away, and I don't think the market's out of the woods for at least another couple of weeks. Let's get through May. Then what happens is you have Europe and America that will go on holiday for a while. So I think these markets are going to be mildly negative to flat for a little bit before we get maybe the push toward the year end.